When we run our SIV, you kind of talked us through the Flyeo fundamentals. Do you mind just doing that again?
Yeah, so the Flyeo fundamentals are to trust your harness, or to use your harness as it's been designed, to dissociate your arms, the full brake range, and situational awareness. These are basically the 4 skills that you need to stop yourself ever getting into a cascade event.
Okay.
So basically to trust your harness, all of the fundamentals are about undoing natural instincts that when we're on the ground are useful to us, but in the air they're detrimental. Okay. So the first one is to trust your harness or use your harness as it's been designed. So when I'm leaning back in my harness, my balance point is in the right place. There's a reason why the carabiners are here and not here or here. All of my straps are tight and fully supported. Now a fear response that we have in the air is that we lean forward. You've probably all been in thermic air and your stomach muscles are aching after a while. So you need to relax and lean back into your harness, and you'll completely change the geometry and you'll be much more supported. If we lean forwards, then we have a different balance point, and then we're much more likely to lose our balance, and that's when we start losing our using our hands to catch our balance. You can think of it as your base of support. Basically, your base of support is if I had a light above my head, it's the shadow that I would cast on the ground. So if my feet are close together, it's very easy for me to be pushed over and to lose my balance. That's why fighters have got a larger stance, because you're much more stable with a larger base of support. If I'm on a tightrope, then my base of support is about as small as it can be, and then I'm using my arms constantly for balance. If I'm laying on the ground, then my base of support is my whole body, and then you can do things like, if I was to try and thread a needle, if I'm lying on the ground, then my muscles can do exactly what I'm asking them to do. Whereas if I'm on a tightrope and I'm trying to thread a needle, then I'm doing these involuntary movements with my hands. So imagine that someone has put wet paint all over your harness. The aim of the game is to try and get as much wet paint on you as possible. So if I'm in an upright, scared position and I've not got any contact with my back, not only can I not trust that I can lean back and find something to catch me, because an inch gap might as well be a foot of no space. So by feeling that pressure, I can lean back further, but I've just doubled my base of support. If I push my knees out and I tuck my legs under, again, that massively increases my base of support. And by leaning back, I even get pressure on the top here. So subconsciously, I'm fully enveloped in my harness, and I'm much less likely to use my arms.
Yeah, and the danger is if you use your arms to catch yourself, you'll be pulling an involuntary brake that might not be the right input to do at that point.
Exactly. And you've seen from the course, after we go past about a 30-degree tip angle in any direction, that's when our balance response kicks in and we start to put our hands out. And when we put our hands out, it's going to be in a dynamic situation because we're past these tip angles, and we're going to be using brake that we don't necessarily want to be using. So we get asked a lot, pod or no pod. So people that fly pods, they want to bring their old harness because they've heard that pods are dangerous. And actually the thing that's dangerous is having your legs out straight. So whether you fly a pod harness or not, the main thing of safety is to bend your legs. And that's because having your legs out gives you extra leverage force. So we have a force acting against us with our risers, and if we have a nice compact body position, so legs tucked under, leaning back, we have a really nice equilibrium between where our head is and where our legs are. When pods first came out, you were super supine, and even with your legs bent, you had more leverage force to get twisted. But nowadays, the modern pods, your body position is pretty much the same as a seated harness like this. The main difference is your legs are out. Now we have a fear response when we get scared. If we're used to having pressure in our feet, is we'll push even harder to feel more secure in our harness. So we need to do some training to get over that. So now if you're just getting a pod, now is the perfect time. Anytime you go flying, bend your legs and do something dynamic, even if it's just a bit of pitch, a bit of roll. Just get used to bending your legs every time something dynamic is happening. I see it in PwC gaggles all the time. We'll be flying along, someone's wing will start to get a bit out of shape and pink, and their legs come in. And that is your SIV position. So it doesn't matter if you fly a pod or a seated harness. The most important thing is to bend your legs to get over, to help not be able to get over this twisting force. Because getting twisted in the air is the quickest way to throw your reserve. Everything becomes much more confusing if you even have half a twist. So best way to mitigate that is bend your legs. So this is really the foundation, because it leads then on to dissociating your arms.
Perfect, thanks.